Hey everybody, Tony Zach with Speedymason here. Today we are going to teach you or show you some tips and tricks on how to do a herringbone. So there's a lot of different herringbone patterns that you can do, and I've decided to use my basement bar area to do a herringbone pattern behind the sink here in the faucet. What we've got here is we've got our Speedymason panel system all stacked up on the wall, and you can see I've got my legs that are obviously going to support my brick. We've talked about that a lot of times in the past. So what I want to do is I basically want to make this as a template, but I don't want to do it specifically on the wall here. I actually want to put it on a piece of cardboard. I want to transfer the Speedymason legs onto this piece of cardboard. So I'm just going to hit my marks here where my legs are all the way up. Now I could measure those up and do it on the other side, but it's just easy enough for me to just push this over and do the same thing over here. So I'm just marking all those legs. I'm going to take this, I'm just going to lay this down, and I'm going to I'm just going to draw all the legs out. And these are marking my bed joint for my brick. What I've done is I've kind of just simplified this to make it really easy for anybody to do. It's really easy, basic 45-degree angles and things like that, but the patterns and designs that you can do are really endless. So what I've done is I've cut a bunch of brick at 3 5/8, and those are going to be the brick that are going to outline this entire herringbone pattern. Now, this is the part where we start laying out the actual herringbone with the brick. So I want to start here. I'm going to use my speed square here and get this first brick on here. So I've got a joint here, like my 3/8 joint, because obviously my head joints are always 3/8 of an inch. That's going to be my spacing. It's going to be right around that 3/8 of an inch to a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch, somewhere in there. But I'm kind of eyeballing this, but you see when I'm working down here, my leg for that first brick would be right here. That's why we marked those out. So now I'm going to be keeping just that little space, and then I'm using that line to bring in my 45-degree angle. So now I'm setting that brick, and this is kind of my first brick that I'm putting in here, and it's going to be very important at that I keep that brick where it's at. So I might do something like this. Now, the herringbone is essentially just stacking on top of that 45-degree angle, and the angle that's coming back again is 45. But you can see, because we're using a modular brick, I've got that. So we've got from here to here, we're going to have that full brick, and then I've got this other brick coming back into it. So it's going to be in a pattern that we like. So now you can see what's going on here is I've actually got some brick that are going to have to get cut. So that's when I'm going to start pulling these brick out. I already know where those are going to go because that's really simple. I'm going to pull those brick out. I'm going to pull my top brick out. If I were to continue to lay this out, I would just keep doing this. Now I've got those brick how they've finished off here, and remember, this is the top of, or this is my bed joint, bottom of this brick, obviously, top joint of the joint here from the top of this brick up. So that's going to be filled in with mortar. So now at this point, that's my reference line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my straight edge here, just going to put it over the top of this, and then I'm just going to mark these brick through here, and those will be cut. And we're going to do the same thing for the top, and then we're going to do the same thing for the sides. So for example, on the sides now, we're going to mark this line through. So now I can remove all these. there's my brick mark. And then I want that 3/8 joint to be in there, right? So that's roughly where that's going to be. I'm just kind of eyeballing that. Make another mark. So let's just say that's my 3/8 joint. And when my brick come in through here, they're going to be coming right to that mark. We're going to space this out just how we want. We're going to make our joints there. So now, when I fill this in, and all those brick are on, making the mark again. And then those are going to go to the saw. So we'll do that all the way around, and up at the top, do the same thing. The difference here is that this line is the bottom of my brick here. So that's my bed joint to support this brick. So my line is going to be the top of this brick all the way over. And that's where I'm going to score my line through here. And then those brick that are left are the ones that we're going to piece in. So now we're just going to go up and start cutting our brick, putting them in all the pieces here, and then we'll fill this whole thing in and we'll be ready to start putting it on the wall. All right, we've got all of our pieces cut. So again, it was really easy just setting all those out and then just drawing the lines on there. I took them up to my saw, cut them up really quick and placed them all in here. There's a lot of little tiny pieces that are going to be incorporated into this, but I think it's going to look really cool. So remember, we've got these brick that are over on the sides that are going to essentially wrap this entire area. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually make a mark on here where my bricks are going to be, and then I'm going to laser level that down here to the bottom. Now the purpose of me doing that is because I want to keep these legs on here for the brick on the side. However, these legs here in the middle, those are coming out because obviously I want my herringbone to sit in there, and with the legs, they're going to hinder me from putting that brick on there flat. So I want all these on the same plane. So what I've got here is, remember, I'm going to have this whole bottom layer is going to be these little half brick, and then this is my leg that I'm going to start on. So I'm going to keep that one, but I'm going to take off these, and I'll just mark those out so I remember to leave this one, or even write don't cut this one on there, but that's up to you. So now I'm going to take my utility knife, I'm going to cut all these legs out. I'm going to leave this one up on the top, obviously, because that's going to support my top row, and I'm leaving all of these here on the side. We're going to continue putting on our herringbone. We've got all our legs cut out where that herringbone is going to go. Again, using the Latticrete bucket program, just doing a little spot bond on the back of this, setting it on the leg and squeezing her in there. Looks good. Interior application, I just need a little spot bond on there, and and away I go. So we got the perimeter laid out here, and now we're just going to start basically the same way that I started as I laid out. So this first one's going to go right in here. What I'm using is I'm using our Latticrete bucket program. I'm using the Greenwich thin brick by McNeer. This mortar that I'm using is a very thick, masticky type material. So this really should set on here without much sag, if any at all. So I'm going to start in that first area, jiggle this thing back and forth a little bit, and you can see it's sticking right up there. This should work pretty well. So now I'm going to square in here, and now I'm going to get that right to where I had it on my template that I built. I've got my joint here, I've got my joint there, and there's my first piece. And now I'm just going to keep piecing this in as I go, and we're just going to keep rolling. So my next piece, I'm just going to get here. You can see I'm actually doing a little bit more of a back butter on this because I want this to stick right on there without sagging. And I'm going to set that on the panel, a little back and forth. I'm right down to my leg, and boom. And now this little guy's going to go in here. Just a little baby. And now we're going to go right in here. Okay. Nice thing about this is I'll be able to make adjustments as I'm going here. So that'll be nice. And then we'll do the next one. I'm telling you, this is really simple. I was really worried on how difficult this might be, you know, trying to get the angles right and all that kind of stuff. But after I thought about it, putting it on this cardboard and building it on the table and then putting it on the wall, it's really a piece of cake. We invite you to check us out at speedymason.com, and we invite you to experience the thin brick revolution.